Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm here to welcome you because I get the joy of working with the young people you're about to see every week. And for 2.5 years, these amazing teenagers have turned up every Wednesday, come rain, come shine, and they write. And we're really grateful to Mark, the artistic director here, director who runs the theatre, because we premiered one scene at the Scripts the Thinger Festival early in the year, and he grabbed me afterwards and said, "Can we have the whole play?" So this is the whole play. And just to let you know that the young people you see here, they have written their own parts. So all I got to do was the joy of putting them all together. So every line they speak, they wrote, they created their own characters, they wrote it. And so you know, it's just under an hour, no interval, straight through, and it's probably what you'd call a rehearsed reading. So they're all in different educational establishments now. They're all in different places. So they'll have their scripts in their hands, but you'll absolutely enjoy it. And I don't know if it's up yet, but when you see it, Chatting Shit, you may be thinking, Well, it starts because one of the actors, one of the writers in the group, she had the idea of, why don't we do something to do with a band? And she said, you know how the problem was with Fleetwood Mac, with the Rumours album, that they kept sleeping with each other and falling out with each other and everything went wrong, but what came out with this amazing album? And so I said to them, okay, if you were Fleetwood Mac now, what would you say instead of Rumours? And they said, Chatting Shit. So, welcome to Chatting Shit.
I hate school trips. Something always goes wrong and there's always a fight. I packed emergency headphones and a portable charger. There's such thing as fate, right? And you might as well be prepared for it.
The trip was better than I'd expected, honestly. Usually when things don't go how I expect, a nightmare. I can't do anything social without basically writing a script for myself in my head. Vivs hasn't aged, chill out. Anyway, I was pleasantly surprised this time. I mean, listening to Joe lecturing me about his aspirations on the bus was boring, but I managed to tune him out and just kind of fell asleep.
The trip. Right, the trip. Yeah, I was not looking forward to that. On the bus, they sat next to Florence. Like, what am I supposed to talk to her about? I ended up just telling her about my aspirations and bullshit like that. Then she said she needed sleep, which is fair enough. It was an early one, and I was up all night the night before. Don't know what she was doing, though. Not my problem. Gave me time to catch up on my streaks.
Nobody wanted to sit with miserable old Lachlan. The kids in my year either don't notice me or don't realise I'm there. Now that I think about it, probably both.
When I get on the bus, there's only one seat left, next to a guy I don't really know. I think she's the sister of that Florence, the one who's really got her shit together and knows everything there is to know about music. I think we'd probably spoken once before. I didn't even know her name. Anyway, you know how it goes. I then can't stop talking. Honestly, it was weird. Normally I can't get anything out unless it's to my mates. And then there was something about her which somehow meant I could talk and talk and talk. She probably thought I was really weird.
Lion King was my first musical. Let's hope it's my last. I spent 3 hours readjusting my sore arse in the few centimetres of space available in the theatre seat, defending my left ear from Joe's rather excitable karaoke. I was pretty occupied for most of the coach trip. I got on first, expecting to spend the journey in solitude, watching downloaded IT Crowd. But, to my surprise, Charlie sat beside me. And God, he can talk.
The show was okay. Not the best musical I've ever seen, obviously. Nothing can top School of Rock. And the seats in the theatre were ridiculously uncomfortable, but still, it was fun. I feel bad for Viv. She was sitting between me and Joe, and she gave me a serious help me look every time he started singing along to the soundtrack. Like, we get it, mate. You sing the songs better than any of the other students. Well done.
The Lion King. Ugh. What's so genius about Hamlet with animals? Oh, I know!
They sing! What could be worse? I'll tell you, the year 13 singing along. Joe was by far the worst offender. He sat 2 chairs in front of me and somehow made me believe he was right there with me in my bloody skull. At least he looked like he was having a good time. And unlike me, he had someone sat next to him.
So The Lion King was an absolute flop, like I said. I think someone needs to remind Sir that unless he fancies a career change, he should probably not be arranging any more Year 11 school trips. Don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing musicals. Hamilton, please. It would have been awesome. Alex saw one of the first showings and they have not let us forget it.
The Lion King was shit. What a surprise. By the time we got back to the hostel, all I could think about was being on my own. Sadly, it was not meant to be. My room had 7 other people in it, all fucking on about how brilliant the costumes were. Please. I dumped my bag, backed out down the hall, and hoping the lobby might be empty of the musical theatre freaks.
I tried to slip away from the hostel, but I couldn't because of safeguarding. I'm literally an adult. So I decided to go to the toilet, but the one in the downstairs lobby so I could get as far away as I could from the musical theatre nerds in my room. I know the music is good, only when it's sung by a professional, not a spotty camp wannabe. Plus, I'd hoped to give me an opportunity to vape, but they had goddamn detectors, so I was shoved back out into the lobby where I saw this mismatched band.
Nothing to say about the trip. But then we're fucking around in this kind of alright hostel. They roomed me with the bitchy drama girls. Apparently the closest thing to non-binary there is. Go figure. So a cheeky smoke out the window was out of the question. They made their displeasure about being roomed with a halfie well known. As if I'd perv on the likes of them. Can't even do their eyeliner straight. The corridors smelled like apples or something. Proper sweet, covered in repeating floral carpet. It's trying to be upmarket, but gives more landlord special than the Ritz. I stopped at a window, where the sun was only just showing. No any setting, but golden in late evening bliss. Great window, open just right. Perfect for smoking. So I was kind of slumping on a wall, sending my ashes down, smoke up, when this kid came up to me. She had this expression like she expected me to recognise her. Said something about my heels, then the outfit, then the vibe. Gotta love a compliment, right? And then she says about her sister, Florence. Bingo. Don't hate me, but Florence is a fucking vibe. Plays bass. Music maestro. Proper punk. I wasn't exactly having a dry spell, but she's pretty eye-catching. And I like eye-catching. Definitely someone I'd enjoy, if you catch my drift. The eager kid's sister, Viv, I think she said, invited me down to the lobby. Apparently there was something going on down there. I finished my smoke and wandered that way.
The hostel was cheap but uncomfortably classy. Hostels should smell of piss, not apple blossom.
I couldn't sleep and neither could Viv, and I drank too much coke during the show and really had to piss, so we went looking for the toilets. We got a bit lost on the way back to our room because apparently the hostel was designed by MC Escher. That's a joke. So we went to the lobby because we knew how to get to our room from there, and that's why we bumped into Joe. And that boy Charlie, who Viv definitely fancies.
They'd avoided me on the bus, in the theatre, and now again in the hostel. We were all in the same bloody room, and they still found a way to exclude me. And what really pissed me off was when they started chatting shit about me, as if I wasn't 4 feet away from them all. I needed a fucking joint. But I'd never even touched a vape, so that wasn't going to happen. I settled for sleeping on the lobby sofa instead. On the way down, I sort of tripped over the last couple stairs. Thought I'd gotten away with it till I heard a quiet giggle from the top steps. It was that Year 11 girl. Val? Vet? Whatever. I tried to play it cool since she was cute. I think I made a smooth recovery.
It ended up being a surprisingly good chat. They were serious about music, which was refreshing to hear. But the subject soon shifted to, of all things, dishing dirt on others. I mostly knew all of it because it was about my friends, but they spoke about them like I wasn't a part of that group, which was different. We could have gone on for hours, but then it went personal, It's like the fun fake beef we have on each other. I made a cracking joke about it being tofu, and everyone laughed.
When I hit the lobby, there was a bunch of people chatting away. That girl was there again too, the one on the bus. Florence waved me over. Why not, I thought. Sat down. They were all chatting shit about people on the trip. I just listened, but it was pretty good hearing them say the kind of things I'd like to say if I could. Some guy called Joe, tall kid, thought he was all that, and he made a really lame tofu joke. No one laughed. But still, it was really good to be around people that I felt okay to be with.
After that, the conversation kept oscillating madly between discussing music taste and bitching about our classmates. Surprisingly fun. Most of my classmates are dickheads. Except Alex, they're nice. They joined us in the lobby, actually. But ripping the piss out of the rest of them was quite cathartic. Yeah, we ended up with quite a big group. And everyone there does music. Well, obviously, we're all music students, but this lot were, serious about it. As serious as I am.
When we rocked up downstairs, there seemed to be a good handful of people knocking about in the lobby. Nobody I really knew, apart from Charlie. He was there. I started heading around the sofa towards Joe, not singing, thank God, but Florence grabbed my arm and gave me the eyes, so I changed tack and stationed myself next to Charlie instead.
Then Florence said out of the blue that we should make a band, and after explaining a very thought-out offer on what we would each gain based on what we had just said in the conversation, it made sense.
So then they get this group together down in the lobby and they want to start a fucking band. Mental. Flo, obviously, her kid sister, some year 12 with a keyboard, a kid called Charlie who could apparently play the drums, and Joe. Joe Malone, as we like to call him, because he's kind of precious about the appearance. Yeah, pot kettle black, whatever. But he leaves a bit of an aftertaste, just like those expensive candles where the room fills with a dead wick smell as soon as you put them out. All fairness, he's pretty enough for his ego.
And you know what? It's not a bad band of six either. Right into the night, we sat and just chatted. Though it did need all five of us to break up Joe's autobiography with bits of shit and pieces of goss.
And then suddenly, there it was, fate. I knew it. I nearly missed the bus because I'd been to a shop first. And now, here I was listening to the music goddess of our school ask us if we want to be in a band together.
Since the trip, we've all swapped snaps and we've got chat going and everything. We've established that Saturday mornings will probably work for rehearsals. For most of us anyway. Sort of. I had to put myself off work and skip swimming, but whatever, I can make time. And plus, it is at Charlie's.
After a snap that seemed to go on for fucking ever, I managed to convince them all we should meet at mine, in the garage. I mean, come on, I do have the flipping drum kit after all. They really think I was going to somehow get that on the bus, for fuck's sake. I cleared it with Mum and Dad, well, with Mum. Dad doesn't really have much of a say, let's be fair. That left me 2 days to get the place ready, moving all of Dad's metal detecting stuff behind a sheet at the back. God, he's such a nerd. It's so embarrassing. I put my kit in the middle of the floor. No one usually cares about a drummer, but it's my fucking garage.
I don't know why I was so nervous about the first rehearsal. I mean, going to new places always makes me nervous, and I can't say I had high hopes for the state of Charlie's garage, but, well, you know. He lives quite close, so Viv and I walked there, me carrying my bass and her with her guitar.
You could say that I was late, but the time wasn't a be there by, more of a get there around. I woke up about 10 minutes before. I could have made it, but I'm not going to turn up looking like shit, am I? I drove into the slimy kid Lachlan, drenched in his own sweat, lugging his keyboard in one of those trolleys that grandmas have. He should have said something. I would have given him a lift. He could have got some deodorant on the way.
My hair was stuck to my forehead by the time I got to Charlie's. I had to drag the keyboard across town. It took me 40 bloody minutes, even in my bloody grandma trolley. And then, to top it all off, just as I was turning into the drive, bloody Joe drove past me in his clapped-out motor. He made eye contact with me, rolled down the window and goes, "Do you want to live?" We were 5 feet in front of the garage. Hilarious! Not. When he stopped laughing, though, he did say he could give me a lift home. So that's something, I guess.
Joe was late, fashionably so, apparently. Hopefully it'll be out of fashion by next practice. Even Lachlan arrived before him, and he shifted a hunk of a keyboard from God knows how far away. He certainly smelled like it was at least a mile or two.
We were the first to get to Charlie's. Alex arrived next with their guitar, which had so many stickers on it you could barely see the actual instrument. It was quite impressive. They had a shitload of badges on their jacket too. Very cool. Kind of cool that looks effortless. I'm pretty sure one of them had the Space Hopper face on it. You know that weird face that was on the original Space Hoppers that kind of scared the shit out of me as a kid?
By the time I got in the room, everyone else was already there. They got their instruments plugged in. I had to find a space right in the dusty back corner of the garage because they'd taken all the front plugs. I didn't think to bring my extension lead. There was a massive cobweb right by my head, and I heard a rat snuffling around among the dead leaves.
The garage was a grimy shade of mould and cat piss. Charlie had already snaked a few extension cables in from the bathroom window, so it didn't take long to set up, despite the weirdly draped sheet across one half of the garage. I gave him a hand with sorting out his drum set, and I swear he kept looking at me. Maybe. Anyway, as cool as he is, I can say that for sure that whatever shit he is hiding behind that sheet should probably stay there.
So Saturday morning came and everyone turned up looking pretty keen actually, except for Joe. Obviously, I don't know him that well, but I've seen him around school, thinking he's all that. Probably thought he needed to make some kind of entrance or something. When he did show, he was all, "I've arrived!" and he was wearing a scarf. Sorry, no, 2 scarves.
We very nearly had to jam without Joe. Let's face it, the guy doesn't really play any instruments, and I know he's the best singer, but we can all sing too. I'm not saying that we didn't want him there or anything, it's just that we technically didn't need him there. But I didn't want to start without him because we'd all planned to be in this band together, and it wouldn't feel right not having everyone there, especially because it was our first practice. When Joe finally did arrive, we had a proper discussion about our actual vision for the band. Well, I say proper discussion. That's one way of putting it, I guess.
Right, cool, let's get going then, or my parents are going to come back and start bugging us.
I wouldn't mind being bugged by your mum.
For fuck's sake, why would you say that?
Grim.
All right, that's my mum you're chatting shit about.
Why don't we just all play something we know?
Like what? I could play Wonderwall.
Oh my god, no.
All right then, what? Heaven's Door? Bob Dylan? Everyone knows that. It's a 3-chord classic.
Sorry, no. I was thinking more like...
Or I could just teach you one of the songs I've already written for us.
Yeah, because your musical taste is so great.
Well, it can't be worse than The Lion King.
Who says you get to write the songs anyway?
You've got my back, haven't you, Lachlan?
Sure.
When you guys have finished chatting shit, I suggest that we go with Alex's lyrics. And since it seems like we're all going to chat shit about everything, I've made a decision. We're going to call the band Thief.
Then Joe was like, "Right guys, what are we going to play?" And everyone started talking at once. Well, say everyone. Actually, it was just Joe and Alex. I just learned and listened. Apart from when Alex started making lewd comments about Charlie's mum. Yuck, I bet her tits are saggy. Gross. But in the end, Florence said we should go with Alex's songs. Don't know why. They're not that great. Didn't care enough to fight anyone on the decision, though.
I mean, Viv has this kind of cool Hendrixy sound, and Charlie can actually hold a beat, though the constant two-pack rapping is a bit grating. Don't get me wrong, Sugar Hill Gang, fuck yes, and Eminem is a lyrical genius. But a band with 2 guitars is totally rock, glam metal at best. So get with the program, kid. And we're playing my songs anyway.
We're a quarter of an hour in and Joe had already grabbed the reins with vigour. Alex didn't look well pleased, Charlie couldn't get a word in edgeways, and Flo was just plucking away a beat track to the Joe monologue. Lachlan, what was Lachlan doing? Nothing savoury, that's for sure.
I brought my own lyrics, but Flo went with Alex's. Clearly some favouritism. She hasn't even seen mine.
Out of nowhere, the group started making some noise. I couldn't tell if it sounded shit because none of us had any talent or if it was because of my stinking headache. Eventually, Florence came to her senses and shouted at everyone to shut the hell up. Relief. But then Florence starts playing a bass line. Could use some work. Then Viv and Alex, and eventually I just played something simple which no one else seemed to hear. Save for the rat on my feet. And then the more we became in sync, the more I felt like I was part of something, for once.
Honestly, by the end, I didn't even need to drink myself into oblivion, as it all kind of came together. Should have had a camera on us. I swear, the place shook. The kind of synchronicity that's like in your bones, flying. Except maybe for little old Joe, who's still pissed at Flo.
Beef? What a shit name for a band. It's supposed to be a band name, not what you had for dinner. Basic bitch.
I know interpersonal drama happens in bands all the time. I mean, look at Fleetwood Mac, for God's sake. But I thought we'd get at least a few weeks just to focus on the music. I didn't expect the drama to come along so quickly. It's only our second rehearsal.
What a mess. I feel like such an idiot. I can't believe I thought that Charlie really liked me. We had such a good time on Friday and he was so attentive and sweet. I thought I'd seen a different side to him. He complimented my guitar playing, which made me feel so freaking cool. I was buzzing afterwards and I could not wait to talk it through with Flo. She was slightly less enthusiastic than I'd hoped. In fact, she was a real down about it all. Told me to be careful and to take it slow. I should have known that she always knows best.
I just finished tidying up the garage again after Dad had his nerdy Warhammer mates over. I was excited for this rehearsal as I had no parents home, so we could play as loudly as we wanted. To be honest, I'd completely forgotten about the coffee with Viv, as it was kind of boring. Like, don't get me wrong, she's a nice girl and all, but it just wasn't that deep. Anyway, I was nearly done setting all the equipment up when I heard a knock at the door. So I went over, opening to see a Jehovah's Witness or something. It was Viv and Flo, who were 15 minutes early. I just said, oh, hey, you're right, and invited them in and just talked about random shit, but something was off with Flo. Weird.
Viv had been so excited to tell me she was going out with Charlie. By the sounds of it, they just went to get a coffee together, nothing too serious, though I still thought I should tell her to be careful and take it slow. I mean, Charlie's a nice guy and all that, but he doesn't seem to be very in tune with other people's feelings. It's not that I didn't trust him, but, well, you know what teenage boys are like. And Viv's my little sister. God, she was so happy after the date. She was a cartoon character. She'd have had little hearts floating around her head.
Joe helped heave my keys into the back of his car. I hadn't actually expected him to give me a lift running upward, but there he was. I remember trying to muster the balls to thank him or make some small talk on the drive there, but fortunately he was way ahead of me. You know, I've never met anyone quite like you, Lachlan. All my friends are pretty cool, not to mention they've used to share in the past month. They can all hold a conversation or eye contact. I've noticed that you just linger like a creep. Been called worse, I reply. Like what? Lachlan.
Despite Locke's own condition, his keyboard was immaculate. If only he put that much effort into a style. But oh well. I bought him some good spray and we arrived. I was hoping we'd get loads done, you know, really form a real connection with each other as a band. But then I remembered I'd seen Charlie the day before in a coffee shop with a girl, clearly on the date.
I gave a nod to Charlie as I passed him, hoping he wouldn't start a conversation with me. It was my lucky day if he didn't. Joe had already drained my social battery. Set up in the rack corner again. Something had pissed there since last time.
I tried to keep an eye on Charlie when we got to his house for practice, just to see if he was as happy as Viv. Seemed normal, like really normal. So normal that it was a bit weird. It looked like he was choosing his words really carefully, like the way I do when I'm masking.
So the second rehearsal was an epic fail. I couldn't wait to see Charlie, but when we arrived, Flo would not stop staring at him. Talk about making it obvious. I wanted to reach over and touch him, but I was way too nervous. And plus, I didn't know if he told anyone about us.
So the first thing Joe did was to blurt out, so, how was the date? I'm trying to signal him to shut the fuck up, but he just suddenly said, you know, the one with that girl from a tutor? For fuck's sake, he couldn't keep his gob shut for life, and could he? Viv is then like, what? And Flo just turns to me and rips me to shit. Everything I said either got twisted or dug me deeper into a hole. Joe just sat there giggling away to himself about what he'd done. Lachlan was just trying to be empathetic, but it wasn't doing shit all for me. Eventually I just said, look, I'm not dating either of them right now, am I? And just because I met up with the other girl doesn't mean I hate Viv, does it? Flo just carried on screaming at me and shit. Eventually I said, mate, I offered you guys a place to practice at my house, but if you're going to be an arsehole, you can get the fuck out.
From what I gathered, Charlie had pretty much played Viv. She seemed sweet, and the look on her face was almost unbearable. I could imagine her feeling the same stomach drop I knew so well, so I sort of shuffled over her and patted her shoulder. I think my gesture was fairly well received, based on the small smile she gave me.
Joe ruined everything. He's such a prick. He asked Charlie how coffee had gone, which could only be a good thing. I couldn't stop stupid smiles spreading across my face as I waited for him to answer. Then felt like I'd been slapped. Joe continued about the girl in his class with the massive tits. Not me then! I couldn't look at Flo, such a fucking loser. I thought he liked me. Charlie looked like he'd been kicked in the nuts. Joe's enjoying himself. Might as well have had the popcorn out.
I don't know whether I should be pissed off or grateful for Joe sticking his oar in. I mean, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have known Charlie had gone on a date with another girl without telling Viv. So, thanks, Joe, I guess.
Flo dragged Viv out the house, and Joe just grinned and followed. Fucking great.
I was about to leave and Alex finally showed up, and they were like, what the fuck's going on? I just saw everyone leave and Flo was muttering something about all men being scum. I'd managed to get our first gig, the Hat Festival. Okay, so it sounded, well, like shit. That's probably right where we were back then.
I was so fucking psyched for this gig. I'd managed to scrounge the coolest steampunk top hat, and I looked bloody incredible. There was no denying it. Yes, it was only performing at a local festival, but it was a main square, and there would be a lot of people around. Maybe even some people that mattered.
I couldn't believe it was actually happening. I was still kind of mad at Charlie, but I couldn't let another argument ruin our first gig. I'd invited the only 2 people from school that I talked to outside of the band to come and watch, and they had both said they'd come.
I was so excited for our first gig as a band, but I found out Joe had booked us for the Hat Festival. My face dropped. Anyways, I decided to invite my whole family because I wanted them all to see me finally perform in front of a big crowd. Then, 2 days before we were meant to be performing, Joe told me the stage we were on was going to be too small for all of us. And I'd have to play on a fucking Cajun thing. I'm sorry, are you taking the piss?
This was beginning to become a regular occurrence now, sitting awkwardly in the passenger seat of Joe's car. I wish I could have focused on whatever nonsense he was spewing at me, but it was drowned out by the sound of my own heartbeat. I hadn't planned on wearing a hat myself, but when Joe saw me leave the house without one, he made me go back inside to find one while he lifted my keys into the back. Something about the way he looked at me when I came out told me he wasn't a fan of the beanie I chose. Or maybe he didn't like the way I swiped it under each of my armpits to catch my sweat before I put it on my head.
The day rocked up abruptly, and before I'd managed to grab my hat from a drawer, Flo was hefting me by my earlobes through the car doors, both guitars in tow. The roundabout was chock-a-block, which raised my heartbeat a notch for the first time. And then, a lot of people. Few more than I'd been expecting. It was only the Hat Fest, after all. That's when I remembered. I didn't have one. I pivoted in my seat and scavenged in the heaps of Mum's crap charity shop bags in the boot. Flat cap? Didn't think so. Not the toggled woolly either. Why didn't we just have a basic beanie? Soon enough, Flo had already parked the car in the only spot in town and had a very pointy, very my hat on her own head. Hey, I literally told you I was looking for that.
When I arrived, the atmosphere was noticeably frosty, but I wasn't too worried. We're all professionals. I set up my guitar and made sure it was in tune. People were already starting to gather around us. There was some pretty wild headwear. People had seriously gone to some effort. Except for bloody Charlie, wearing his usual uninspired baseball cap. He was in a right mood, all because he hadn't got his drum kit. Big wah. Joe was already flirting with a group of girls in the crowd. God, he loves himself. He better not get distracted.
The festival was brimming with bodies, and as Joe led me through the crowd, still talking, I was poked in the eye by every single papier-mâché hat known to man. When we arrived, I could have died happy right then and there when I saw Charlie with a cajon. Flo and Viv didn't seem to be on speaking terms with him, but I'm pretty sure I saw a twinkle of satisfaction in Viv's eye for this small bit of karma. I left Joe's side to set up my keys and kept my head down so no one talked to me, especially Alex. Setting up alone near her gave me the chance to try and gather my thoughts. I failed. My thoughts were very much not gathered.
When it came to the day, I'd realised I completely forgot to get a cool hat, so I just grabbed my New York Yankees baseball hat and chucked it on backwards, and then carried my Cajun to the festival, as my parents were already there. When I arrived, I ran up to the stage to help everyone set up, but when I went to help, Viv, she just gave me a side eye and turned. So I went to do the same for Flo, but she turned away too. Great gig this is going to be.
I got there with Locke and our equipment, but most importantly, our hats. I donned a fedora with a striking peacock feather, whereas Lachlan had his beanie, which I'm not sure has ever seen a wash. I went to get a peppermint tea and do my warm-ups. When I got back, everyone was stressing, so I said some words of encouragement, but no one was really listening. I don't know why they're stressing. If it goes wrong, it's my face they'll remember. Poor Lockie was frozen still.
Alex had clearly been here for hours, and the square looked sick. Joe, surprisingly, and Lachlan were already here. The crowd had definitely swollen over the last 20 minutes, and oh fuck. Charlie swaggered out of the crowd, that stupid fucking grin smeared across his face. What's up, guys? Ugh, shut up.
Then it was our turn. I took my mic and speaker out to the front and searched for anyone I knew. I checked behind if everyone was ready. Char was sat glumly on his cajon, which is probably fair enough. But he can't fuck up on just that. Once Locke had stopped staring into my soul and turned to his keyboard to prep, I signalled that we were ready, and
I suddenly came to at the sound of Viv playing. Somehow my fingers took over and everything was okay. I knew the song well enough to look around at the crowd a little too. They were roaring, and my chest tightened a little. Never felt this kind of pride before.
Our set was incredible. We were feeling the energy, flirting with the crowd, and it was electric. Even Lachlan pulled a belter. Joe's suggestion that we enter the Battle of the Bands competition was beginning to look like a fucking great idea. With my lyrics and his singing, we could be unstoppable. The others were up for it, even Flo, which is a shocker. I thought that she might be the type to head straight to uni. But apparently not.
Joe is such an annoyingly good singer. But I wasn't going to let my beef with him and Charlie stop us from giving a good performance. Call me pretentious, but in that kind of situation, I think the music is more important than the personal issues. And the people watching seem to enjoy it. I even saw a couple of little kids dancing at one point.
It went so fucking well. The crowd was actually like bobbing. A bunch of the uni kids who wouldn't even dare make eye contact with me in the street were dancing away right at the front. I thought, damn, maybe we are good after all.
My surveillance of the crowd came to a screeching halt. My older brother was in the crowd, and he couldn't seem to take his eyes off me. Idiot, I'd told him not to come. I was suddenly worried about messing up and embarrassing myself in front of him. But apparently Flo had that covered for me. She was making mistakes. Small ones, but they were getting more noticeable. It was unlike her. Then she put herself out of her misery by calling a break.
And then the shit hit the fan.
Becky showed up. Becky, the student ambassador type person who I'd met on the uni tour. I hadn't mentioned the gig to her, and I didn't think she was local. I hadn't told anyone that I was going to uni next year. Well, I might be going. I wasn't sure yet. I didn't think I should tell anyone until it was definite. I mean, I thought it was definite until we formed the band and everyone started planning its future. Now, I was just kind of playing it by ear, seeing how it goes. God, I hate seeing how it goes. Why the hell did I say we should start a band?
The rest of the group all seemed pretty chipper. Charlie offered around his hobnobs, and despite the fact that I was fucking starving, he got the shoulder. When I put down my guitar, I went across to Flo, who seemed to be desperately trying to stay out of the eyesight of the rest of the band. was understandable that she might be embarrassed, but it wasn't that deep, really.
I felt content enough to just sit and listen to everyone. I laid my head on top of my folded arms against the table, almost asleep. That was until I heard a girl's voice from somewhere to my left.
Some girl came to the front of the crowd and appeared to be motioning to Flo. Ex-girlfriend, perhaps? No, I didn't think that was Flo's bag. She'd gone epically pale, though. She headed over to her and looked really shifty. Just as we were trying to figure out what the hell was going on, the newcomer dropped her bombshell. It was great seeing you again, Flo. I can't wait to show you around campus for real when you arrive in September. What the fuck? Campus? September? Viv was looking like she'd been slapped, and Joe had removed his fedora, a vein throbbing in his forehead, a clear sign that he was pissed. Viv stuttered, "What campus?" It went deathly quiet. We all looked at Flo. Her mouth was moving, but there wasn't any sound coming out. Awkward.
Well, shit.
So, yeah, I think I'm going to uni in September, so I won't be around for the Battle of the Bands thing. But I'll still be here for the summer, okay? We might get to do other shows in that time. Surely that's enough, right? I just... It's a really good school, and I'll get so many opportunities to make really good music there. I want to do the band, but I want to have a career too. I mean, do you seriously think Beef is going to be a massive success? Be real.
What? Since when? When are you going to tell me? I'm not the fucking band, I'm your sister. Does Mum know? And what about all of us?
What the fuck? So this band's not happening just because you got into uni? I literally didn't apply because I thought we were all on the same page. You know, focus on the band, perform a battle of bands. Ring any bells?
I don't even know what to say. Oh no, wait, yes I do. You gave me all that shit about keeping secrets and not telling you guys about my personal life, and then you go ahead and apply for university without even telling us.
Come on, guys. We're all hypocrites here anyway. It's not as if the band was really going anywhere. I mean, the Hat Festival?
Are you stoned?
Nah, I don't need to get high when Flo's here. She's all my creative inspiration rolled into one, man.
Right.
What? So how long have you guys been going on for then? Am I the only one who's not dated someone in the band?
I haven't.
It's not that deep, man. I just fuck around. I'm leaving for Nepal in December anyway.
Great.
And what's wrong with me?
Right. Stop it. I've got something to say. I'm sorry about what happened with Viv. I was a complete arsehole. I shouldn't have gone on the other date. I really enjoyed ours and I felt a connection between us.
Forget it, mate, that ship has sailed.
Is anyone else like craving popcorn?
You are stoned. What the hell? You've turned up to the gig stoned.
Oh my god, shut up, all of you. What's more important, huh? Making music together or chatting shit? I know that's the whole reason we became friends, but this is ridiculous. I'm sorry I didn't tell you that I'm going to uni, okay? Viv, I'm really sorry. I know I should have told you. I hadn't decided whether I definitely wanted to go or not. But I've decided now. I'm going. You guys can keep the band going if you want, but you'll have to do it without me. I quit.
Jesus. Battle of the Bands already. I felt like it had only been a couple minutes ago that Flo was talking about starting a band. Before we hit the stage, Joe and I watched the other bands from the wings, and they were all shit. I left Lachlan and Viv to worry about the fact that we didn't have Flo with us. God knows why Lachlan cares about us. She fucking left us.
I've never been more nervous in my entire bloody life. If the rest of the band were as terrified as I was, they didn't show it. By the rest of the band, I mean everyone but Alex and Flo. Alex was late as usual, and Flo wasn't there, obviously. I wasn't convinced that we could win without her. Viv seemed more determined than ever, though, almost spiteful. Charlie was still getting the cold shoulder from her. And Joe kept reciting every verse under his breath, and it was really getting on my nerves.
Nerves were high, especially Lachlan's. It was like a vibrator that was been left on. So I had a stern word, and I left Charlie to it. He seemed pretty under control. Viv had almost been mute since we arrived, so I set off to prepare myself. And since Alex wasn't here yet, I did my vocal prep alone. Then I went to check on the judges and see how the competition and how it was quite stale. But nothing seemed amiss, just my own nerves, which I swallowed down with some peppermint tea.
6 bands already. 6 bands who really did have their shit together. They all seemed so complete, so whole. I had to keep biting my lip at Joe wouldn't fucking shut his shithole about aspirations and how we got this. But I mean, yeah, it was fine. We'd be fine, of course, and Flo was only one cog in the wheel. Wheels don't need all their cogs, surely. And then we were on. 4 minutes to show Flo we were serious about this shit.
So maybe I was a little bit late, but I had to get the look just right. And maybe the half a pack of cigs was a bit excessive. But hey, that's rock and roll, baby. Everyone was mildly pissed. Reed, absolutely knocked. They were eyeing up everyone else squeezed in backstage like they were animals. Maybe fair, considering the amount of leopard print that was on show. But seriously, I knew we had it in the bag.
We've been given our 5-minute call. Nice. Leave the best till last.
My clammy hands were destined to fumble over the keys and ruin everything as usual. I tried some breathing exercises, but they didn't work. The moment our band was called up over the speakers, Alex decided to grace us all with their presence. Their eyes were red and dilated. Great! Perfect! Good to know they're in peak condition. I sat up on stage. Fuck, there was a light in my eye. How am I supposed to play with a light in my eye? Before I could do anything about it, Charlie tapped the drumsticks to count us in, and everyone was playing. I can't see!
I was rushed onto stage in a flurry of hands, whoops, guitar cables. Joe absorbed the applause like a scarved sponge. Once fully saturated, he counted us in with a flourish. As soon as we started, I realised I was right. This wheel spins perfectly with only 5 cogs. Alex's rhythm guitar held us perfectly in shape, and the audience evaporated in the glare of the lights.
We literally flew onto that stage like fucking crew, tighter than Charlie's mum's spandex. And the audience just ate it up, clapping along, stomping like they were a professional concert, not just some backwater gig. Yeah, baby, we had it. Every time I glanced back, I could see Charlie grinning like an absolute fool, driving us higher and higher. Could have died. Better than drugs, better than sex, better even than sunshine. Lachlan laid down a blazing keys solo, managed half a smile, dead horror show, and Viv doubled the rhythm just right, and we didn't need no fucking bassist.
It was pure luck, but I managed to find the right notes in time for my solo. My fingers practically glided over the keys all by themselves. I don't actually remember that much of it. I think I blacked out.
The crowd was breathing us in, high off our own pleasure of performing. Lachlan's keyboard solo? Oh wow, boy did he shine from that stagnant pool of doubtful BO.
It built just right, and we took them higher and higher, raising the roof, stratospheric. I bet you could have seen the fucking glow from space. Seriously mental. By the final chorus, the crowd were actually chanting along, singing my harmony with me. They were singing my songs. Yeah, nailed it.
What a fucking show it was. The audience adored us. Even Lachlan got a whistle at his solo. He went bright red, but kept playing the legend. I remember thinking, maybe we can do this. Maybe we can take it all the way.
I felt on top of the world when I came off stage. I felt like I was some kind of god. Fuck Flo, I thought. Fuck your self-obsessed self. We could do this without you.
4 minutes and we had left a burning mark on the battle of the band's history book. Kind of a shame that Flo couldn't be with us for our moment of glory, or at least witness it. But she was annihilated from my thoughts. I was submerged in an immense group hug.
Joe went prancing off the stage like fucking Morrissey, and I knew we'd never hear the end of it. I blew the audience a kiss before following into the humming dark. And it took a second for my eyes to adjust. Then I saw it. Her. Flo. Bollocks. I was still giddy high, so I went shouldering past, planted a kiss on her cheek, and headed straight for the vodka in my guitar case. Of course I didn't notice the fucking guitar she had with her.
I only found out that I didn't mess up when the others congratulated me backstage. It felt good. I was proud. That was a first. That was until I heard Joe swear under his breath. And then I looked up to see Flo staring us all down in the wings. Are you fucking serious? It was the prodigal fucking daughter's return.
And then I saw her in the wings. Joe gave her his best bitch stare, but there she was. And then they announced her. What the actual fuck? Flo was going up there by herself to perform.
And all I could think was this better not be some fucking revenge diss track.
Pushing through the buzzing group, headed for the stage with a very familiar guitar and a very familiar sister. Shit.
I'm not calling anyone a liar, but I think we were faking our way through. Whose expectations were higher, yours for me or mine for you? I'm playing tug of war with my own mind. I never thought I'd be the one to go ahead and leave you behind, but enough is enough and I'm done. We've been flying too close to the sun, thought we'd be great but forgot to have fun. Nothing is going the way that I planned, so from the outside I'll watch the band. It was nice to feel like I finally had friends. Guess it was destined to come to an end, 'cause all that we said and all that we did was an endless string of chatting shit. Whatever, it's my turn now. We all know how much you love yourself. Enough with the drama, take a bow. Is it so hard to think of anyone else? I can't get your voice out of my head. You're singing through a mouthful of smoke. Did you really mean anything you said? You made her feel special and then like a joke. I'm sorry I've quit the pantomime. I wish only the best for you all. But just remember, the higher you climb, the further you have to fall. We've been flying too close to the sun, thought we'd be great but forgot to have fun. Nothing is going the way that I planned, so from the outside I'll watch the band. It was nice to feel like I finally had friends. Guess it was destined to come to an end, 'cause all that we said and all that we did was an endless string of chatting shit. Shit.
Last year at the Scripts thing, I saw Chatting Shit, and it was brilliant, and the writing was fantastic. And then Rebecca Tepele a few weeks ago asked me if I'd like to direct the rehearsed reading version of it tonight at the Corn Exchange. And I was like, yeah. So I spent a few hours with them. I direct theatre and sometimes film, and I really like the idea of bringing together a rehearsed reading that feels theatrical. So yeah, I've had probably in total about 4 hours with them, and the amount that they've been able to do in such a short space of time is genuinely astounding to me, and I think they absolutely smashed it tonight, and I think they should all be really proud of themselves.
I had no idea what was coming up, so it was really interesting to see. The degree of density of the text that they developed, I thought was very professional.
It was just really funny, and it was really great to see all the different relationships between the young adults, and they clearly had kind of gelled throughout the process of writing it as well as performing it, and it was just really lovely to see all their different perspectives.
I like the song at the end where they're talking about sort of regretting making bands.
The plot twist, I really didn't expect that.
It was a really kind of warming insight into this kind of nurturing and growing kind of relationship between these 6 characters, how they kind of evolved and formed, and the relationships as they unfolded.
I mean, it was fabulous. I loved all of it. I thought all of the characters, the people were perfect for their roles, and yeah, it was just amazing. I was really, I was just blown away. My sibling played Flo, and it was really moving to see them up there, and the song was beautiful, and it was really funny. Go and see the Bank of Dreams and Nightmares. Anything that they put on, it's all absolutely amazing, and yeah, donate.